Eli stood on the observation deck of Neo Arcadia Station, watching the city lights flicker beneath the glass. The station hovered above the planet like a shining jewel, reflecting neon towers, floating transport lanes, and the shimmering green rivers of the city below. Humans had built this place for themselves, yet it was no longer just theirs. Species from across the galaxy had come here for trade, learning, and diplomacy. For Eli, being a human diplomat in this mixed alien world was both thrilling and terrifying. At 23, he was younger than most of the other diplomats, and his reputation rested on charm, humor, and a natural way of understanding people, or in this case, aliens. He took a deep breath, letting the recycled air fill his lungs. Tomorrow, he would start the cultural exchange program at the Academy of Interstellar Relations. He shifted his gaze to a group of students practicing zero-gravity drills in the atrium below. Some floated effortlessly, others flailed, laughing when they bumped into walls. Eli smiled. Humans were clumsy in zero gravity, but that clumsiness often made them relatable. Across species, he had noticed, aliens respected skill but also liked those who could laugh at themselves. A soft voice called from behind him. "You're watching again, aren't you?" Eli turned. Standing there was Lyra, one of the alien students he had met during orientation. She had skin that shifted in color with her mood, currently a soft lavender that Eli guessed meant curiosity. Her eyes were unusually large and golden, and her mouth curled into a faint, knowing smile. "Guilty," Eli said with a shrug. "Zero gravity makes humans look awkward." Lyra tilted her head. "Awkward, yes, but amusing too. You seem to enjoy that." "Of course," he said, leaning against the railing. "If humans weren't funny in space, what hope would the galaxy have?" She laughed, a sound like wind chimes caught in a gentle breeze. Eli felt a little lighter. It wasn't often that aliens laughed like humans did. "Tomorrow you start at the academy," she said. "Are you ready for the formalities?" Eli grinned. "Ready? I'm terrified. But humans have a way of surviving awkward situations." Lyra raised an eyebrow. "You are confident or foolish. Humans are curious creatures." "Curiosity keeps us alive," Eli said. Then, without thinking too much, he added, "You know, your mom is prettier than every girl I've dated." Lyra froze mid-step. Eli immediately realized the audacity of his comment. Across many alien cultures, complimenting family members, especially mothers, was unusual and sometimes taboo. He braced for anger. Instead, Lyra smiled. Not the polite smile of social etiquette, but a small, amused, almost human-like smile. "You humans," she said softly, shaking her head. "Always testing boundaries, always bold." Eli blinked. "I didn't think that would—" "Relax," Lyra interrupted. "I am not offended. That was unexpected. Boldness is rare among aliens. Humans have audacity. It is interesting." Eli felt a strange mix of relief and pride. Audacity. Interesting. Those were compliments in this context. They spent the next hour talking, Eli learning about Lyra's world, her species, and the way she saw humans. She explained how her people communicated subtly, often using color changes in their skin, shifts in posture, and silent gestures. "Humans are noisy," she said, "but your noise carries meaning that even we sometimes miss." Eli laughed. "Noisy humans saving the galaxy, one awkward comment at a time. Sounds about right." The station's alarms buzzed softly, signaling the end of visiting hours. Eli realized how quickly time had passed. "Same time tomorrow?" he asked. "Yes," Lyra said. Her smile lingered as she floated away. Eli watched her go, feeling an unexpected warmth. Humans had always believed charm and humor could open doors, but he hadn't expected it to work on an alien with such grace. The next morning, Eli arrived at the Academy of Interstellar Relations. The building was massive, with towering ceilings, walls of glass that looked out onto the city, and floors that shimmered with embedded lights. Students of every known species moved in organized chaos, carrying holographic tablets, discussing theories of diplomacy, or practicing simulated negotiation drills. Eli took a deep breath and walked into the main hall. Immediately, he felt the weight of alien eyes on him, not hostile, but curious. They watched humans the way a biologist might watch a newly discovered animal, interested, cautious, and ready to test every limit. Eli straightened his jacket, trying to look confident. He spotted Lyra waiting for him near the entrance. She gave him a small nod, the lavender shade of her skin brightening slightly, a sign she was pleased. "Follow me," she said, gliding toward the classrooms. "Today is orientation. Later, you will meet your assigned partner for the first exchange. I hope you enjoy it." Eli followed, trying to memorize everything. The subtle gestures of alien students, the way their skin glowed with emotion, how they communicated without words. Humans often relied on gestures too, he realized, and maybe that was one reason they could understand aliens better than aliens could understand each other. When they reached the orientation room, the instructor, a tall alien with metallic silver skin, began speaking in a series of tones that Eli understood through the translation device in his ear. The academy taught diplomacy, negotiation, conflict resolution, and cultural understanding. Humans excelled at these things instinctively, but no one expected them to master alien nuance. Eli listened carefully, absorbing every detail, every rule of etiquette, every hidden cue. Lyra leaned close at one point, whispering, "Your kind is strange. Humans watch more than they speak. That is a rare skill among my people." Eli smiled. "I guess awkward humans do have a use after all." The session ended with a practical exercise, pairing students to simulate a tense negotiation between two alien factions. Eli's partner was a large, multi-limbed creature named Korath, whose species relied heavily on intimidation. Korath towered over him, eyes glowing a deep red. Eli swallowed his nerves. "Hi, I'm Eli. Let's try to survive this together." Korath tilted his head. "Interesting. You are small, but not afraid. This is unusual." Eli grinned. "Humans have a saying. The bigger they are, the harder they fall, if you're clever enough." Korath's eyes flickered with amusement, or maybe confusion. Either way, Eli felt a tiny victory. He was already using human instincts to gain an advantage. As the day progressed, Eli noticed how humans were different. While aliens calculated, plotted, and executed with precision, humans improvised. Humans joked when tension was high. Humans asked questions that others never thought to ask. And humans, like Eli, often broke expectations. By evening, Eli was exhausted but exhilarated. Lyra met him in the courtyard, her skin now a soft rose, signaling pleasure. "You surprised many today," she said. "Your kind, humans, can be irritating, yes, but effective, bold, unexpected. I think we will learn a lot from you." Eli felt a surge of pride. That's what humans do. We survive by being unpredictable. She laughed softly, a sound that made the cold courtyard feel warmer. And sometimes, audacious comments are part of that unpredictability. Eli chuckled, remembering his teasing remark from yesterday. He had worried it would offend her, but instead, it had been a bridge, a way to show confidence and humor in a world full of rules and precision. As he walked back to his quarters that night, Eli thought about what he had learned. Humans were not the strongest species, not the fastest, not the most advanced. But audacity, curiosity, humor, and empathy, these were their weapons. And in a galaxy that valued strategy, power, and technology, those simple human traits might just make them unstoppable. The next morning, Neo Arcadia Station was alive with activity. Hovering vehicles zipped past the glass walls, leaving trails of light in the air. Aliens and humans alike moved through the corridors of the Academy of Interstellar Relations, each focused on their tasks, each carrying their own goals and ambitions. Eli walked briskly to the main hall, his backpack bouncing against his shoulder. Today was the first practical exercise in cross-species diplomacy, and he felt the familiar mix of excitement and nervousness. Lyra was waiting for him near the entrance, as always calm and confident, her lavender-colored skin glowing softly in the early morning light. "Good morning," she said. "Are you ready to surprise the instructors again?" Eli grinned. "Surprise is our specialty." Lyra rolled her eyes, though her smile revealed amusement. "Your confidence is unusual. Most humans are younger than you. Yet you act as if you belong here. Interesting." "Maybe I do," Eli said with a wink. "Maybe humans belong anywhere they set their minds." The first exercise involved negotiating with a group of alien delegates to settle a trade dispute. Each student was assigned a role representing their species. Eli's opponent was Tharix, a towering reptilian alien whose species prided themselves on intimidation and control. Tharix's scales reflected the lights of the room, shimmering red and gold, making him appear even larger and more threatening. Eli swallowed, reminding himself to stay calm. He remembered Lyra's words about human audacity. Confidence could be as powerful as strength. Taking a deep breath, he stepped forward. "Greetings," Eli said, bowing slightly in the human way. "I hope we can reach a fair agreement today." Tharix's eyes narrowed. "We do not bargain with those weaker than us. Speak quickly or leave." Eli raised his hands in mock surrender. "Ah, a direct approach. Humans admire clarity. Let's see. Perhaps there is a way where both sides win. It may take some clever thinking, but I enjoy puzzles." Tharix stared, unblinking, clearly unused to humor in negotiation. Eli smiled to himself. Humans often disarmed others by being unpredictable, mixing confidence with wit. Meanwhile, Lyra observed quietly from the side. Her skin shimmered a brighter lavender. She noticed the subtle ways Eli used tone, posture, and humor to influence Tharix. Even without advanced technology, humans had a natural talent for reading emotions and using them. It was something most aliens lacked. By the end of the exercise, Eli had not only reached a compromise, but had done so in a way that made Tharix respect him. The instructors nodded, impressed by the young human's ability to navigate a situation that could have escalated quickly. After the exercise, Lyra approached him. "You make it look easy. Most humans would freeze or follow the rules exactly. You improvise." Eli shrugged. "Improvisation is part of being human. We make mistakes, yes, but we also turn mistakes into opportunities." Her golden eyes softened. "I see now why your kind is admired and feared. Not for strength, but for cleverness and unpredictability. Boldness is your weapon." Eli felt a warm pride. Audacity, improvisation, empathy, these were not the usual measures of power in the galaxy, yet here they were his greatest assets. Later that day, Eli attended a cultural simulation, where students were assigned to navigate social situations from another species' perspective. He was paired with Miriel, a small, winged alien who could read emotions through pheromones. She was nervous, and Eli noticed her discomfort immediately. "Don't worry," he said gently. "Humans often make mistakes, too. The key is staying calm and noticing what others feel. We can get through this." Miriel tilted her head. "You understand? Most humans cannot read alien signals so easily." "Maybe not," Eli admitted, "but we notice things. Little things. A pause, a gesture, a color change. You don't need technology to understand someone. Just pay attention." The exercise required them to negotiate with a group of alien merchants who were extremely particular about etiquette. Many students failed because they focused too much on rules. Eli observed, adapted, and gently guided Miriel through the process. Together, they found common ground with the merchants. By the end, the instructors praised them for creativity and insight. Lyra watched from across the room, impressed once again. Humans' subtle understanding of emotion and psychology gave them an edge that no alien technology could match. Even the instructors admitted it was unusual. After class, Eli and Lyra walked through the academy gardens. The plants were bioluminescent, shifting colors in response to nearby presence. Eli touched a glowing vine, letting it wrap around his fingers. "Humans are strange," Lyra said softly. "We rely on precision, logic, and observation. Your kind relies on intuition and audacity. It works, yet it should not." Eli laughed. "Maybe that's the point. We aren't supposed to follow the rules perfectly. We make our own." Her lavender skin shifted to a deeper shade, almost a blush. "I think that may be why we will need humans in the future. You see possibilities that we do not." Eli grinned. "Possibilities? Opportunities? Humans are good at both. Sometimes all it takes is a little boldness to change the world." As the day ended, Eli returned to his quarters, reflecting on what he had learned. Humans were underestimated in the galaxy. They were not the strongest, nor the fastest, nor the most technologically advanced. Yet their unpredictability, empathy, and humor allowed them to navigate situations that others could not. He thought back to his teasing remark to Lyra the day before, about her mother's beauty. It had been bold, risky, and slightly ridiculous. Yet it had worked. It had created trust, amusement, and connection. That small act was a lesson in human power. Audacity, used wisely, could open doors that no weapon or device could. Late that night, Eli received a message on his communicator. It was from the academy director, a tall, silver-skinned alien with eyes that glowed softly in dim light. "Eli," the message read, "your performance today is unusual. We have never seen a human adapt so quickly to alien negotiation styles. Your skill may be needed for a larger assignment. Report to my office at dawn." Eli stared at the message, heart racing. A larger assignment? His mind raced with possibilities. Humans were often underestimated, but perhaps it was time to show the galaxy what their audacity could accomplish. As he looked out at the glowing city from his quarters, Eli felt a strange sense of purpose. Humans had survived, thrived, and built civilizations not because they were the strongest or smartest, but because they were bold, adaptable, and empathetic. And now, in a galaxy full of rules, expectations, and alien calculations, those traits could make a difference no one else imagined. He thought of Lyra and her amused smile. It had been a small moment, almost casual, but it reminded him of something important. Humans left an impression wherever they went. Their audacity, humor, and heart were gifts in a world that often lacked both. Tomorrow, he would meet the academy director. And perhaps, just perhaps, humanity's influence would reach even further than Neo Arcadia Station. Eli lay down, thinking about the future. Aliens might be stronger, smarter, or more technologically advanced. But humans had something else, something subtle, unpredictable, and powerful. Audacity, empathy, humor, curiosity, and that, he realized, could change everything. Eli woke to the soft hum of Neo Arcadia Station. The city below glimmered with 1,000 colors, reflecting off the glass towers and floating lanes. Today was unlike any other day at the academy. The message from the director weighed heavily on his mind. Something significant was about to begin, and Eli had a strange mix of excitement and nervousness in his chest. He hurried through the academy corridors, passing students from multiple species, each preparing for the day's tasks. Some were practicing negotiation exercises, others were analyzing interstellar trade routes, and a few were engaged in advanced diplomatic simulations. Humans often struggled in their first weeks at the academy, but Eli had adapted quickly. That adaptation was about to be tested. At the director's office, a tall figure awaited him. Director Solari, a silver-skinned alien whose eyes glowed a calm blue, looked down at Eli with measured interest. "Eli," Solari began, "your performance has been exceptional for a human. You adapt quickly, improvise, and influence others without relying on technology or power. That is unusual." Eli nodded, feeling both proud and cautious. "Thank you, sir. I try to understand others and find solutions that work for everyone." Solari's glowing eyes softened slightly. "Tomorrow you will participate in a simulation of a real interstellar crisis. This is not just a test, it is a preparation. A minor conflict has arisen between two species in the neighboring sector. You will assist in mediation. Your skills may prevent escalation." Eli's heart skipped a beat. A real conflict? At his age, at his first months in the academy, this was more than anyone expected of a human student. I'll do my best," he said. "Good," Solari replied. "Your human audacity may prove useful." That night, Eli reviewed the available reports. The conflict was between the Krull, a species known for strict hierarchies and prideful culture, and the Valari, a diplomatic but cautious species skilled in technology and trade. The Krull accused the Valari of unfairly claiming rights to a rare mineral essential for energy production. The Valari insisted they acted lawfully, but tensions were rising fast. Eli read the communications, noticing patterns that others might overlook. The Krill messages were aggressive but predictable. The Valari messages were polite but contained hidden urgency. Humans, he realized, had a natural advantage. They could interpret tone, detect subtle cues, and respond with empathy while remaining firm. The next morning, Eli met Lyra in the courtyard. Her skin shimmered a soft lavender as she greeted him. "Ready for your first real test?" she asked. "I think so," Eli admitted. "But I also think humans can do something others can't. We notice things. We see possibilities that technology misses." Lyra nodded. "Then let's hope your kind's audacity is enough." The simulation began in the grand negotiation hall. Holographic projections displayed the sectors in dispute, energy grids, and trade routes. Representatives of the Krill and Valari sat at opposite ends, their bodies tense, eyes sharp. Eli stepped forward, feeling the weight of the moment. The Krill leader, a massive reptilian figure, hissed with impatience. "Humans! Why are you here? You are weak, irrelevant." Eli smiled politely. "Strength is not always the answer," he said. "Sometimes insight and understanding prevent battles that strength cannot win." The Valari ambassador blinked, surprised by the statement. He was cautious but intrigued. The discussions began. The Krill accused, the Valari defended. Other students tried rigid calculations, showing numbers, graphs, and agreements. Eli noticed frustration building. Most students relied on rules and technical data, ignoring emotional cues, cultural subtleties, and the human factor. Eli stepped in carefully. "Leaders, I notice tension in the room. Both sides have valid concerns. Let's explore a solution that respects your values while protecting resources. I think if we look at the problem from a new perspective, we might find a compromise no one expected." The Krill leader narrowed his eyes, skeptical. "Humans speak too much. Why should we listen?" "Because," Eli said calmly, "we see things others miss. Patterns, intentions, opportunities, small details that change outcomes. Give me 10 minutes to explain, and you may find it worth your time." A murmur went through the room. The instructors and alien leaders watched carefully. Eli had 10 minutes. He began by pointing out subtle patterns in the communications, phrases repeated, pauses, timing of messages. He highlighted how both sides wanted the same outcome: stable trade, safe energy supplies, and recognition of their sovereignty. Then, he proposed a plan that gave each side part of what they wanted while preserving face and honor. At first, the Krill leader growled, rejecting the idea. The Valari seemed intrigued but cautious. Eli remained calm, using humor and confidence to diffuse tension. "Even the galaxy's fiercest warriors can negotiate," he said lightly, without firing a single laser. Slowly, both sides began to consider his proposal. His analysis was simple, but it worked because he noticed things others didn't. A slight nod from one leader here, a subtle shift in posture there, revealed their true feelings. Humans excelled at reading these cues. By the end of the simulation, the leaders agreed to Eli's compromise. The room erupted with applause, not just for the solution, but for the human who dared to step in where others relied solely on logic. Lyra's skin glowed bright lavender, a clear sign of admiration. "You did it," she said softly. "Your audacity, your ability to understand them. It worked. Humans are remarkable." Eli felt a rush of pride but remained humble. "We just notice things others miss," he said. "Sometimes that's all it takes." After the simulation, Eli was invited to meet the Academy's senior council. They wanted to discuss the humans' unique ability to read situations intuitively. Humans were not supposed to excel in interstellar diplomacy so quickly, yet here he was, an example of human audacity, empathy, and cleverness. "Your performance today demonstrates the strength of your species," Solari told him. "It is not physical strength nor technological power, but subtlety, insight, and boldness. We underestimated humans. Perhaps the galaxy should take notice?" Eli nodded, realizing the truth of the statement. Humans often survived because they adapted, improvised, and connected with others. Across the galaxy, where power and technology dominated, these traits were underestimated, until now. That evening, Eli walked with Lyra through the glowing gardens. The bioluminescent plants pulsed softly, reflecting the light from the city below. "You humans are audacious in ways we cannot predict," Lyra said. "You joke, you tease, you improvise, and yet you achieve results others cannot. It is fascinating." Eli smiled. "It's not magic. We just notice people. We understand emotions. We take small risks that others fear. And sometimes we say something bold and unexpected. That can open doors." She nodded, her lavender glow brightening. "I see now why your species may survive, and even thrive, where others falter." As they walked, Eli reflected on the day. The galaxy valued power, technology, and strict rules. But humans had something different, something subtle and unpredictable. That audacity, combined with empathy and humor, made humans formidable in ways no one expected. And tomorrow, he would face another challenge, one that would test humans' audacity on a much larger scale. Eli went to his quarters that night, feeling both excitement and responsibility. He thought about the Krill and Valari simulation. Humans had survived conflicts on Earth by reading people, improvising, and daring to act boldly. Here in the galaxy, those same traits had saved a simulated conflict. The thought filled him with hope. The next day, he knew, would bring new challenges, larger, more complex, and far more dangerous. But he was ready. Humans had survived, thrived, and built civilizations because they dared to notice, to act, and to take risks. And in a galaxy filled with aliens who relied on rules and strength, human audacity could change the course of history. Eli woke to the soft hum of the station again. But this morning the air felt heavier. Neo-Arcadia Station seemed normal at first glance. Shimmering towers, glowing rivers, and floating vehicles, but the message he had received last night told a different story. A real conflict was approaching. Not a simulation this time. The neighboring sectors were showing early signs of unrest. The Krill and Valari had taken minor disputes over resources into actual skirmishes. Though not yet full-scale war, the potential for catastrophe was high. And now, the Academy wanted Eli's input. He met Lyra in the central garden, where the bioluminescent plants pulsed softly. Her lavender skin was deeper than usual, a clear sign of concern. "They trust you," she said. "It seems humans may be needed for something more than simulations." Eli nodded. "We've done well in exercises, but this is real. We'll have to rely on everything humans are good at. Noticing, improvising, connecting." Lyra tilted her head. "You are audacious, Eli. But this will test that audacity. Be careful." Eli smiled lightly. "Careful, yes, but bold when needed." At the Academy Council chamber, the senior instructors gathered around a large holographic table. Projections showed the disputed sectors, the fleets of ships on patrol, and areas at risk of escalation. Eli's pulse quickened as he took in the details. "Eli," Director Solari said, "you understand subtleties other species overlook. You notice things in behavior, tone, and emotion that can turn conflict into compromise. We need your insight to mediate before things worsen." Eli nodded. "I understand, sir. I'll do my best." The first council meeting was tense. Representatives from Krill and Valari were present, their forms rigid and eyes alert. Each spoke formally, defending their claims with charts, reports, and strict rules. Most humans would feel overwhelmed, but not Eli. He listened, observing posture, tone, and micro-expressions. He noticed small tells. The Krill shifted their claws slightly when feeling defensive, and their eyes flickered a deeper red when lying. The Valari's wings twitched when anxious, and their pheromones signaled unease during subtle disagreements. Where others relied on raw data, Eli relied on observation, reading these subtle cues and using them to guide negotiation. "Leaders," he began carefully, "I see concerns on both sides. The Krill want security and respect. The Valari want fairness and safety. Both are reasonable. What you need is not strength, but understanding. And I believe there's a way to prevent escalation while protecting everyone's interests," the Krill leader hissed. "Humans speak too much. Why should we heed your words?" Eli smiled. "Because humans notice things you may not. Your expressions, gestures, hesitations, they tell stories. Stories that, if understood, can prevent mistakes. You may not trust me, but you can trust the truth in what I observe." The room was quiet. All eyes were on him. He guided them through his observations. Small moments, small actions, subtle signals. They all revealed intentions and concerns. By highlighting these, Eli helped both sides understand the unspoken issues behind their disputes. Slowly, he proposed solutions that allowed each side to maintain dignity while protecting key resources. Instead of strict compromise or force, he suggested phased resource sharing, joint patrols, and mutual recognition of rights. The Krill growled at first, resistant, but Eli's calm confidence and gentle humor broke the tension. "Even the fiercest warriors can negotiate with elegance," he said, "if we pay attention to what isn't said as much as what is." By the end of the session, the Krill and Valari agreed to a temporary treaty, preventing immediate conflict. The council, astonished, praised the human for achieving what alien diplomats could not. Lyra's lavender glow brightened as she approached him. "You did it," she said. "Your human skill, it works in real life, not just exercises. Humans are remarkable." Eli shrugged, though pride warmed him. "We notice. We improvise, and sometimes a small, bold statement can change everything. The following day, Eli participated in a series of briefings with Krill and Valari leaders. They were skeptical of humans at first, but Eli's calm approach and ability to read emotional cues began to earn their trust. During a particularly tense session, the Valari ambassador leaned forward. "Human, you seem to understand us better than most of our own species. Why?" Eli smiled. "We notice, we watch, we listen, and we are bold enough to act on what we see. Humans survive by understanding people, not just rules, not just technology." The Krill leader hissed, amused in a way that Eli recognized as reluctant respect. "Perhaps humans are clever." "More than clever," Eli replied lightly. "Humans are unpredictable, and sometimes unpredictability is the best weapon in a conflict." His words were not empty bravado. Every observation, every insight, every small joke or gentle challenge helped the leaders see new possibilities. Humans' audacity, empathy, and ability to improvise gave them influence that few others possessed. By the end of the week, a stable preliminary treaty was in place. Eli's ability to read, improvise, and act boldly had turned potential disaster into diplomacy. The Academy instructors and council members were impressed, openly acknowledging that humans were a species worth observing, and perhaps even fearing in a polite sense. That evening, Eli walked through the glowing gardens with Lyra. The plants' light reflected softly on their faces, and the bioluminescent flowers swayed as if acknowledging their conversation. "You humans are strange," Lyra said. "You joke, tease, and take risks, but you achieve results no other species can. It is fascinating." Eli laughed softly. "It's not magic. We just notice people. We understand emotions. We take risks. Sometimes audacity is the only way forward." Lyra's lavender skin shifted to a warmer tone, a subtle glow that revealed admiration. "You may be right. Perhaps humans will be needed more than we thought. Your species is capable in ways we do not fully understand." Eli smiled. "That's the thing about humans. We survive because we adapt, improvise, and trust our instincts. We notice what others overlook, and we act. That's what makes us effective, even where others fail." The moment was quiet, almost serene, but Eli's mind was already racing. The galaxy was full of conflicts, many more dangerous than the Krill-Valari skirmish. Humans might be underestimated, but audacity, empathy, and cleverness could tip the balance in countless situations. As they walked, Eli thought back to the moment he teased Lyra about her mother's beauty. A small act of boldness, harmless and playful, had created trust, amusement, and connection. It reminded him that even tiny human gestures could have profound effects. In a galaxy governed by strength, rules, and technology, humans had their own unique advantages: intuition, adaptability, audacity, and humor. These were subtle powers, often underestimated, but in the right moment they could be decisive. By the time Eli returned to his quarters, he was exhausted but exhilarated. The Krill-Valari conflict had been diffused, but he knew this was only the beginning. Other crises would arise. Other species would test humans' abilities, and humans would respond, not with brute force, not with superior technology, but with the very traits that had carried them across Earth through countless challenges and now across the galaxy. Eli lay down, looking out at the glowing city. He thought about the weeks ahead, about the unpredictable galaxy, and about humanity's potential. Boldness, empathy, and cleverness. These were the human advantages, and Eli knew that one day these traits might save civilizations. He closed his eyes, a small smile on his face. Humans were underestimated. Audacity, subtlety, and heart could achieve what others could not, and Eli, a young human diplomat, was just beginning to show the galaxy what his species was capable of. The sun, or what passed for a sun in Neo-Arcadia's orbit, glimmered over the city below as Eli stepped onto the observation deck. The station was quieter than usual, a calm before the storm. The Krill-Valari conflict had been temporarily resolved, but reports indicated unrest elsewhere. Another dispute, more complex, more dangerous, was brewing in a sector far from the station. Eli felt a familiar mix of nervousness and excitement. This was no longer practice. This was real. The galaxy was testing humans, and Eli intended to show exactly why his species should never be underestimated. Lyra appeared beside him, her lavender glow brighter than usual, reflecting both concern and anticipation. "You're calm," she said, though her tone hinted at surprise. "Calm, yes," Eli replied, "but focused. Humans survive by observing, adapting, and daring. That's what we're going to do." She nodded, her expression unreadable to human eyes, but Eli sensed respect. The Academy summoned Eli to the council chamber. Holographic projections displayed the disputed sector, a cluster of mining colonies rich in rare minerals essential for interstellar energy. Two species, the Zarathi and the Corvins, were on the brink of full-scale conflict. Unlike the Krill and Valari, these species were more aggressive and prideful, less willing to compromise, and highly organized. "Eli," Director Solari said, his calm voice betraying a hint of worry, "this situation is volatile. Your ability to read emotions, improvise, and act boldly may prevent war. You will be our lead mediator." Eli nodded, taking in the data. The Zarathi were skilled tacticians, valuing honor above all. The Corvins were technologically superior, confident in their fleets. Any misstep could escalate into destruction. "I understand," Eli said. "We'll need patience, creativity, and a little audacity." Solari's eyes gleamed faintly. "Your species has an advantage no one else does. Use it wisely." The mediation session began. Both species entered the holographic negotiation room, tense and distrustful. Their eyes scanned Eli carefully, skeptical of a human's ability to influence a serious conflict. The Zarathi leader, a tall, armored alien with sharp mandibles, growled, "Why is a human involved? You have no stake here." Eli smiled politely. "I may not have a stake, but I notice things. I see concerns, intentions, and hidden fears that others miss. Sometimes, an outside perspective can prevent disaster." The Corvin commander snorted. "We do not need outsiders. Speak carefully, human." Eli remained calm. "I will speak honestly. My species survives by noticing what others overlook, by adapting quickly, and by daring to act when necessary. If we approach this carefully, we can prevent bloodshed and preserve honor for both sides." The leaders exchanged glances, skeptical, yet curious. Audacity, Eli realized, was already capturing attention. As negotiations began, Eli observed closely. The Zarathi shifted their posture slightly when defensive, a signal most humans would miss. The Corvins emitted subtle vibrations when frustrated. Other students relied on charts and protocols, but Eli relied on human intuition, careful observation, empathy, and improvisation. He began subtly guiding the discussion. "Leaders," he said softly, "I notice tension around perceived dishonor. If we address these concerns first, the other points may become easier. Let's begin there." The Zarathi leader growled, but Eli continued, blending humor and boldness with careful diplomacy. "Even the fiercest warriors may find laughter or humility disarming. Humans call it breaking the tension." The Corvins blinked, confused, yet intrigued. Humor was unexpected, but it softened hostility. Eli's audacity, mixed with empathy, shifted the room's energy. By the second hour, small compromises began to emerge. Eli suggested phased mining rights, shared resources, and joint oversight committees. Every proposal preserved face and honor for both sides, a critical factor in alien negotiations. The Zarathi and Corvins initially resisted, but Eli used subtle observation to detect when each was ready to yield slightly. A flick of an eye, a slight posture change, a hesitation. These told him more than any report. Hours passed. Tension was high, but Eli remained calm. He remembered lessons from the Krill Valari situation. Humor, audacity, and empathy were as powerful as technology or intimidation. He allowed himself small jokes, clever observations, and gentle challenges that made both sides reconsider without losing pride. "Imagine this," he said lightly. "Two species fighting over minerals, while humans survive on nothing but air, water, and curiosity. If we can do it peacefully, surely you can too." Both leaders blinked, caught off guard by the audacity. A ripple of laughter, hesitant but genuine, spread. The atmosphere softened. Eli's human charm was working, even in a room full of the galaxy's proudest warriors. By midday, concrete agreements were forming. The Corvins agreed to limit their mining fleets temporarily, while the Zarathi allowed joint inspection of colonies. Eli emphasized fairness, trust, and transparency. His ability to notice subtle emotional cues ensured that neither side felt dishonored. Lyra watched quietly from the side, her lavender glow bright and steady. "Humans truly are remarkable," she whispered. "Bold yet empathetic, clever yet humble. This is why your species thrives." Eli smiled softly. "We notice what others miss. That's all. Sometimes a small, audacious remark or observation changes the entire course of events." Evening came. The room was tense but stable. The leaders, exhausted but respectful, shook hands, or the alien equivalent. Averted war. The council and academy instructors were astonished. Eli, a young human, had mediated a potentially devastating conflict. Director Solari approached him. "Eli," he said, "you have demonstrated what we suspected but could not prove. Humans are subtle, audacious, and insightful. Your species may not wield the strongest weapons, but you wield influence that few others understand. You have saved lives today." Eli nodded, humbled. "We do what humans have always done: notice, adapt, and act boldly when needed. That is enough to survive and thrive." Lyra joined them, her glow softening. "I will remember this day." Humans are more than what we imagined. Your audacity, cleverness, and empathy, they are your greatest strengths. Eli smiled. "And small gestures, even playful ones, can make a difference. Remember yesterday when I joked about your mother?" She laughed softly, a warm, melodic sound. "Yes, a small remark, but it showed courage and humor. That is human nature." Eli nodded. "Exactly. Humans survive because we notice, we act, we adapt, and sometimes we dare to speak boldly. That is what makes us capable in ways others overlook." That night, Eli stood on the observation deck, gazing at Neo-Arcadia below. The galaxy was unpredictable, full of conflicts, and brimming with dangers humans had yet to encounter. Yet he felt confident. Humans had survived, thrived, and built civilizations not because of raw power, but because of subtle strengths: empathy, audacity, humor, and adaptability. He thought about Lyra and the moments that had started everything, the small gestures, the jokes, the bold statements that had built trust and connection. These were the human advantages. Tomorrow, there would be more challenges. Other species would test humans. Other crises would arise. But Eli knew that humans could meet them, not with brute strength, not with technology alone, but with the unique combination of intuition, courage, and cleverness that had carried humanity across the stars. As the city lights flickered below, Eli allowed himself a small, proud smile. Humans were underestimated. But their audacity, subtlety, and heart could achieve what others could not. And in a galaxy full of rules, technology, and power plays, humans had won something more valuable than victory: respect, trust, and proof that audacity, cleverness, and empathy could shape the fate of worlds. For Eli and for humanity, the future was bright, and the galaxy had just begun to understand what humans were truly capable of.